One of my favorite books that I probably ever read was Shoe God by Phil Knight, which is the creator of Nike. And growing up, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always had entrepreneur aspirations, even if it's not full time. Just things that I always thought outside the box. Never wanted to be the kind of nigga that just go to work, go to home, or whatever. When reading that book, Phil Knight kind of broke down the idea of starting a brand off of passion. Phil Knight was really passionate about track running and track shoes. It meant the world to him. He built a brand off of that passion. You feel me? Yes, you can make a lot of money um, selling Twizzlers at football games, but you might not be passionate about candy. You might not be that passionate about the idea of doing it. You might like baseball cards. Oh, why not try to sell baseball cards? You feel me? Um, so anyway, one of the beautiful things about the JBP from the beginning stages, um, and even before the Joe Budden podcast ever dropped, if you go on Joe Budden's YouTube channel back in the day, they had like little mini podcast clips of them just talking, them just in the kitchen just talking. Me, I like to talk. I consider myself more like a quiet guy. So I'm not one of them people who want to talk to every bunch of random people. But when it comes to my friends or people that I really mess with, I talk to niggas for 10 hours straight. You feel me? Real conversations and shit like that. And that's what a lot of the early Joe Budden TV stuff was. That's what the early Joe Budden podcast was. That's what shit kind of became once it became too much commercialized. Joe Budden podcast nowadays is a commercial. It's commercialized. It is a business. Once things gets kind of scaled down, bro, they kind of get watered down a little bit. Same thing for a rapper. If a rapper got 1,000 fans, he's making music for this 1,000 fans. Once he becomes on top of the world, now he has to make music for everybody. An example, Drake, Little Uzi. Even think about you. On your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, you might have 200 people following you. You might say whatever you want to say. Let that shit go up to 200,000. You're going to question every little thing a little bit. And even if you are continuing to be your authentic self, now you got to question it. These 200,000 people, how they going to take it? Joe Budden going behind a paywall is one of the dumbest fucking things on earth ever, yo. They're already making a lot of money on Patreon. It's a business plan that a lot of people weren't able to compete with. Probably like Flagrant 2, that's about it. One of the things that kind of made it what it was is that, it's a free podcast. It's going to be available all the time and it's consistent. I remember listening to Joe Budden podcast in 2018 on a summer day at 6 o'clock in the morning. The JBP used to drop like 4:36 in the morning on Saturdays. I remember that shit. I used to wake up and go for jogs and that shit would be ready right there, consistent. The paywall structure fucks shit up, yo. It fucks shit up. I remember 4 years ago, I haven't been on the Patreon in 3 years probably, but I was on there for a while. I remember 4 years ago, like listening in the summer, like summer 2022, just being excited about the Patreons, bro. Them shits used to be fire. When Flip and Mel first came, and then Flip kind of bought the idea of bringing different people on, the Patreons used to be fire, bro. Now, I heard it, I don't even know. I heard they're not even that good. Nothing about the main pod excites me to go sign up for the Patreon anymore. Joe Budden trying to go behind a paywall, bro, one of the dumbest fucking things that you could probably do. I know he kind of puts himself as a business guru, which I think he is, and I think he was consistent. But I think Joe Budden also benefited from being very early into this shit. You feel me? Being very early, being very consistent, and really having a love for this shit. I don't think he's like some like next level business guru that he think he is, And I think a lot of niggas, I think a lot of life is that, I think a lot of life is, of course, discipline and being smart, being business minded and all that kind of stuff like that. But I think there is a 30 to 40, I say 30-40% of it is just like timing and kind of like luck and God to a certain extent. Like at least 30% of it. The other 70% is hard work, grind, grit, smarts, all that kind of shit. But that 30% it means a lot. Even the luck of him knowing, like, him being born to parents and a family that could cultivate him to be such a personable person, somebody who loves to talk. He could have grew up around a family that made him more so want to be like more introverted. He don't like talking to people. He could have been one of those rappers who awkward on camera. You feel me? Like, it's any little thing could have played a part. If that JBP would have started 2 years later, maybe shit would have been different. You see Joe Budden, Fat Joe and Jadakiss got their podcast, and Jim Jones and a lot of rappers who just started their podcast last year. They on their second or third podcast. Mano had a podcast before. Like, they start a podcast, they flop, and they start like Mano, Jim Jones, Fat Joe. These niggas might be all on like their second or third podcast, but they getting deals now. Digital Thugs, them out. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Joe Budden should not go behind the paywall.